remember the first moment I saw her again, 7 years after our divorce. It was a rainy afternoon, the kind that makes the streets shimmer and reflections blur in puddles. I was walking past the little cafe on Main Street, the one we used to frequent after work, when I saw her through the window. She hadn't changed much. Same sharp eyes, the same curve to her smile, but there was a distance in her expression, a hesitancy that I couldn't quite place. She looked up and our eyes met. I froze, my chest tightening in a way that surprised me. 7 years. Long enough for life to change us both. But here she was, looking at me as if she had something to say that could rewrite all those years. I walked inside, heart hammering, the scent of wet pavement and roasted coffee mingling in the air. She didn't stand immediately, just watched, waiting. "Hi," I said, my voice quieter than I expected. She nodded, a faint smile brushing her lips. "Hi," she replied, her voice familiar but fragile, like a melody I remembered but hadn't heard in years. There was a pause, heavy and uncomfortable, filled with all the unsaid words from our past. I took a seat across from her, my hands clutching the edges of the table like a lifeline. "It's been a long time," I managed, though the weight behind those words carried more than just 7 years. It carried the echoes of betrayal, the nights of sleepless worry, and the slow unraveling of trust that had ended our marriage. She leaned back, her eyes distant. "Yeah," she said softly. Then she took a deep breath, and the words hit me like a thunderclap. "I've thought about you a lot over the years. About us." For a moment I couldn't breathe. I wanted to ask how, why, and what she meant, but the fear of being hurt again froze my tongue. 7 years had taught me caution. I'd learned that love without trust is a fragile thing, and trust, once broken, leaves permanent cracks. I didn't know what to say, I admitted finally. "Seeing you here now. It's unexpected." She nodded, a flicker of guilt crossing her face. "I know. I didn't plan to. I needed to see you. To tell you something I never did before." Her hands twisted in her lap, betraying the calmness she tried to project. I wanted to reach across the table to close the distance, but a part of me held back, wary of reopening wounds. "After everything, why now?" I asked quietly. She swallowed hard. "Because I've carried regret for years. I made mistakes. With you, with us. I let things slip, let pride and stubbornness get in the way. And I never got the chance to tell you the truth." My mind raced. Memories flooded back. Arguments that escalated too quickly. Nights where silence had replaced conversation. The moment I found out she had been hiding a friendship that had grown too close. The betrayal had been slow, creeping into our lives unnoticed until it was too late. And yet, the love I felt hadn't entirely faded. It had been buried under layers of hurt, but it was still there, fragile and trembling. "What truth?" I asked, my voice taut with a mix of anger and curiosity. She looked me in the eyes, and for the first time the distance between us seemed smaller. "I loved you," she said simply, but the weight behind it shattered me. "Even after I left, even after the divorce, I loved you. I was scared, I made choices I shouldn't have, and I hurt you. I know I can't undo it, but I needed you to know." The words stung, but not in the way I expected. I had expected excuses, defensiveness, or anger. Instead, I felt the raw, human confession of someone who had been lost and was finally trying to find their way back to truth. I leaned back, absorbing the weight of what she had said. 7 years of separation, and here we were, two people scarred by mistakes, sitting across from each other with nothing but honesty between us. My mind searched for a response, a way to process the emotions that churned like storm clouds inside me. I paused, letting the words catch. "I don't know what to say. Part of me wants to forgive, part of me is still so hurt. Seeing you now, hearing this. It's overwhelming." She nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know. To hear it directly from me. Not through rumors, not through time passing. I needed you to hear that I never stopped caring, even if I failed you." We sat in silence after that, the cafe's chatter fading into background noise. I thought of the nights I had cried alone, of the anger I had buried, of the slow acceptance that had allowed me to move forward without her. And I realized something essential. This moment wasn't about rekindling what we had lost. It was about truth, closure, and understanding that love, even when it falters, leaves a mark that doesn't disappear. Finally I spoke. Hearing this, it changes something. Not everything, but it changes the way I remember us, the way I remember you. It doesn't erase the pain, but it softens it, maybe. She smiled faintly, relief washing over her features. That's all I hoped for. That you'd know I never stopped caring, that I never stopped thinking of you. I nodded, feeling a strange mixture of sorrow and peace. I can't go back, I said gently. We can't undo the past. But I can carry this, your honesty, your regret, your truth with me. And maybe that's enough. She reached out and briefly touched my hand. It was a small gesture, fleeting, but it carried years of unspoken emotion. It's enough, she whispered. As I walked away from the cafe, rain slicking streets beneath my feet, I realized that some meetings aren't about rekindling what was lost. They're about understanding, about closure, and about reclaiming a sense of peace. 7 years had passed, but in that single moment, we had bridged the gap between pain and understanding. And though our paths would diverge again, I carried her words with me, a reminder that even fractured love can leave a lasting human truth, that honesty, however late, can heal wounds in ways silence never could. I learned something profound that day. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation, and love doesn't always demand presence. Sometimes it simply requires acknowledgement and the courage to face the truth, even 7 years later.